Well, you're talking about our brother.
Mr. West.
Yeah.
I'm sure
You're
we're
talking
all
about our brother.
conflicted.
Nah, but we have to love our brother regardless. You know, never have we ever, in the history, have we ever witnessed a staple in the community be utilized in that way.
Right.
So I look at the symbolism of that and I say, man, we gotta that's our brother.
Of course.
We don't, abandon them because we fundamentally disagree.
For Complex News, I'm Pierce Simpson here with 10-time Grammy Award winner Pharrell Williams. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pleasure to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you're releasing your latest sneaker, Solar Hue.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of great things with the sneakers. You want to tell different stories, but this one is with East African heritage. What are you looking to accomplish with this one?
You know, for me, it really honestly started with skin tone.
Yeah.
Just such a beautiful skin tone. And it doesn't get the kind of visibility and pop culture that it deserves.
Right.
It's now happening in certain areas, but like for so long, you wouldn't see that in regards to like fashion.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, we just love the way it looks. And not for nothing, sorry, but like it just makes the clothes pop.
For sure.
Like,
Yeah.
it's just beautiful.
You've given credit and you've honored the Native American culture. You've honored the Hindu culture. Now you're honoring East African culture. So there's obviously some type of humanity that you're looking to showcase with this line. Is that what you're trying to accomplish and showcase humanity?
Yeah, and let me clarify, like it started with skin tone, but
Yeah.
then when you think about like, cause there's Senegalese, there's that beautiful dark skin tone is in a lot of places in Africa, but I think East Africa just made sense because of, when you think about like the marathon runners, and the Kenyans happen to be one of the best, and so for us, why not? I never really wanted to like have my face or use my likeness for my brand. I always wanted my brand to represent other people. And so I figured, why not highlight other cultures? And also, like I said, give a voice, visibility, and reception to these beautiful cultures around the world that inspire us.
You left a great quote that was very intriguing to me. You said the thing you're most proud of in your career so far is the evolution to consider others. What sparked that for you?
I feel like the universe just tapped me on my shoulder at one point in my career. And it humbled me so much because so many things were happening for me that I hadn't asked for, I could never have dreamt of.
Yeah.
And I just started questioning, why me?
Right.
And after that, it made me never really want to like do things that were about me or like completely for me.
Yeah.
For a while at that point, it was about my family, but now like, and at that turning point, I realized that I wanted to like do things for others.
Do you remember exactly what that turning point was?
Probably right around 2012, 2013.
That segues perfectly to my next question, because in 2013, when Happy's ringing off, you're probably at the top of your game when it comes to solo ventures. People are coming up to you and saying, Happy is something that I needed. Happy is a record that it just speaks to me. But you seem to sense this type of desperation underneath that allowed you to kind of spark a different perspective. What was that perspective that it changed for you?
Well, I just realized that like, not a lot of people are genuinely happy.
Right.
A lot of us just like look for happiness in other things.
Yeah.
And someone will look at me and be like, well, easy for you to say, look at your this, or look at your that, or look at your this. But I have to say that like, it was at that point in my life like that I just felt like something was happening around me that I couldn't explain, but I was seeing it. It's kind of like when you see like the wind blow on the trees, you see the leaves move. That's the wind.
Right.
But you don't question whether there's a wind,
Yeah.
right? But you can't see it.
Right.
You can feel it. I had this happening to me in my life in much bigger ways and more specific ways, and it was just bugging me out.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was just so much bigger than my career or anything that I was doing. It was like, wow, things are moving around me. So I was frightened, but excited and grateful, but humbled.
Right.
And so at that point, I just felt funny even doing anything that was laudatory or was seemingly just all about me. I just couldn't even look at things any other way.
Yeah.
It's kind of I was struck, right? By a different kind of lightning.
Yeah, and you mentioned that pressure and just that pressure of like, I think you kind of alluded to earlier, is like, okay, am I worthy of this? Is this for me? Because Happy was originally supposed to be written for CeeLo Green. You had
Yeah.
him in mind with that one.
Yeah.
So when the success happens and people are coming up to you with these different types of testimonials and things that they're going through, did it feel like it was a lot to carry? Was it a lot for you to handle at that point in time?
I just was still so freshly shocked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. For sure.
That, you know, freshly struck. A song with Daft Punk, Get Lucky, I thought I was writing that for someone. I didn't know I was gonna stay on the song.
Yeah.
So that was a shock to me too. There was so many things and I just couldn't explain it, you know. Because I'm an Aries, you know, for me, when I was young, I was full of a lot of hubris, me, and I. And for it to happen bigger than anything that I ever forecasted for myself, that's what humbled me and made me go, you know what? I'm actually not in control. I contribute, but there's so many other forces at hand here, and I need to humble myself and understand those things,
Of course.
or understand all of it, which for me was God, you know, the universe.
That's incredible, man. You told GQ that you want your shoes, and I want to get this quote correct, inspires positive change and celebrates equality and unity.
Yep.
And obviously throughout your career, that's something that you focused on, and you seem to be a very inclusive person. When your shoe line was accused of cultural appropriation, did that bother you? And how did that, you know, affect your creativity going forward?
No, yeah, it definitely affects, because you don't want to offend anybody,
Right.
you know. But for me, I just want to, you know, I wanted to go make that right and make sure everything was like in the right space.
Yeah.
In fact, we're actually doing collaborations with them as well.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. That's incredible. Can you
Yeah.
speak more about the collaboration, or is it kind of under wraps?
It's coming.
Okay, I'm
coming.
excited, man.
Yes, sir.
I'm excited. This country is probably the most divisive it has ever been in a long time. For you as an artist, do you feel stifled by this moment, or do you kind of find the silver lining in everything that's going on?
There's a silver lining to everything, just because in the darkest of times, like, you know, on the other side of that is the light. Like, we're gonna be okay. But there is a major divide in this country. And if we don't find a way to like bring empathy into any of these equations, there will always be a separation.
You considered yourself a supporter with opinions when it came to the Hillary Clinton campaign, and you were kind of warning people of what we're enduring right now. What did you see that kind of made you say, like, hey, it seems like these guys with this hateful rhetoric, it's starting to capture some people's attentions. We need to focus on them and kind of just watch what's happening.
As minorities, we always saw that.
For sure.
We've always known that was there.
Yeah.
It wasn't as pronounced because that wasn't like the narrative that we were seeing. That wasn't the televised narrative.
Right.
But in the real life, I mean, we seen bumper stickers. We seen like, you know, flags and
I mean, we both from the South. We seen the
yeah.
Confederate flags.
We
know
seen
how
it.
it works.
We seen it. But God is the greatest. Right. And I just feel like at the end of the day, you know, that's a very old, you know, an old spirit. And I feel like there's a lot of new, good spirits that are coming in right now. And what leads me to be a perpetual optimist is that the future decision makers are seeing what's going on right now.
Right.
But the negativity, just, you know, the minus signs, they're not gonna crawl back in the hole. That's like very real and very present.
With this position that you're in, the platform that you have, the career you've sustained, it's very easy for you to take a step back and not be so inclusive. So what's making you kind of preach empathy and fight for the arts like we've seen and do these incredible things when it's easy for a guy in your position just to step back and say, they deal with that, that's their problem?
Well, you're not, if there's no empathy, then you can never get to any kind of level playing field or even understanding.
Right.
You don't have to love everything that somebody's into, but we gotta reach out somehow. That being said, it's dark right now.
Yeah. As a musician, are you able to like capture that moment without it affecting your work too much, without your work becoming too dark?
I just try to make music for people.
Yeah.
I think across all artistic disciplines, we try to tell a story.
Yeah.
I think it is, I'm not gonna call it the responsibility of the artist, but I just feel like that's why you're gifted. If you're gifted, then you're supposed to pay it forward. So, you know, when you're given something, you have a responsibility. So I don't want to say that, but I kind of feel like that. A musician is one who interprets like the vibes from the muses.
Right.
Hence the term musician.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you agree with, I mean, there's some artists these days, I won't say any names, but I'm sure you can understand where I'm going at, where they will be very in tune with politics. They'll even go to the White House. Do you agree with some of those tactics that they use?
Well, you're talking about our brother.
Mr. West.
Yeah.
I'm sure
You're
we're
talking
all
about our
conflicted.
brother. Nah, but we have to love our brother regardless. We might not agree with him, but we can't stand by and watch him watch anything happen to him. You know, never have we ever, in the history, have we ever witnessed a staple in the community be utilized in that way,
Completely agree.
you know,
Yeah.
in that kind of way, you know,
Yeah.
with that kind of like real impression.
Right.
So I look at the symbolism of that and I say, man, we gotta like, that's our brother.
Of course.
We don't, you know, abandon him because we fundamentally disagree.
Right.
But we care about his well-being.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, we care about the spirit that is him.
Yeah. Does that leave you conflicted in any way when you see that, or are you just like, okay, I need to help my
No,
brother out?
we love our brother. We gotta love our brother.
Absolutely.
We don't gotta agree.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, man, like, you gotta understand that, like, even when there is division, we're still one.
Exactly.
And it hurts because there's a lot of like darkness out there, you know, and they use that. Believe it or not, like, we're one, right? The universe is one.
Yeah.
If we're all existing at this one time, we're one. So the division is like, it's in our minds, and it's a tool, man, that I feel like it's just, that's our brother.
Yeah. I thought the sentiment you said.
We wouldn't have let that happen to Cassius Clay, even if he wouldn't have decided to go the other way.
Right.
We would have stuck by him.
Yeah. You watched a lot of TV growing up, a lot of cartoons. You described yourself as like a Mr. Magoo type. You don't necessarily know where that guy's going. You don't know what's happening, but he moves off instinct. For you to describe yourself as that, how are you able to keep your finger on the pulse of this culture for well over 2 decades now and kind of know what works and what doesn't work?
I don't know. I mean, aside from my own instincts,
Yeah.
you know, that's it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's kind of just.
That's why I describe myself that way, because I mean, I don't know like the blueprint. And every time I felt like I did, I'm the guy that, you know, that where the punchline really works when they say God laughs at our jokes.
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah.
my efforts have been some of his best punchlines.
Yeah.
So I've just given up on feeling like I know. I just like bring my instincts to the room.
You have a very collaborative spirit, and like I mentioned earlier, very inclusive. Kid Cudi recently mentioned to GQ that he's fearful that you won't work with him based off commercial success or lack thereof with some of y'all's most recent projects. Do you feel that way?
No way.
Exactly, Kid
No,
Cudi.
he's so inspiring.
Right.
And I'm only as good as my collaborations anyway.
Yeah. So when
Like,
you
and I love the stuff that we did. Love. Like, I like music that like I want to go to later.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
a year from now I want to play it, or like 3 months from now I want to play it.
Yeah.
You know, we're on an island somewhere, I want to play it.
Exactly.
Like, I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So, to me, like, Cudi he's a GOAT, bro.
Yeah.
Like, his melodies and his concepts, he's a timeless alien.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's impacted a lot of careers, especially a lot of artists that we see now that's thriving. He inspired them, so it's great to see. You mentioned that Adidas has always kind of partnered with distinctive people of color, whether it's Marvin Gaye or Bob Marley, and Pusha T recently said that Kanye himself and you are like the gatekeepers at Adidas. Do you feel like you all are the gatekeepers for such an iconic brand that's really been a part of our culture for a long time?
You know, I kind of stay away from credit. You know, I always feel funny taking credit.
Why is that?
Yeah. Because credit is like, you know, for me, I feel like credit is to be given, not to be taken.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
When I take it, I kind of feel like I'm stealing.
The NBA has lifted its restrictions on sneakers. Are there any players in the league that you kind of admire and would maybe want to work with and collab with when it comes to sneakers and Adidas?
There's 2 that I'm working on,
Okay.
but I can't let it out.
Damn.
Yet.
Okay. Any hints?
I can't. I'm excited.
No hints whatsoever.
I'm excited.
Okay.
These are both like phenomenal, you know, players.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess final question. You said you don't like to take accomplishments or compliments, anything. What's next for Pharrell?
I'm not so good at rattling off all my like things, you know. That's something like I like do like with my wife or
Yeah.
like, you know, I tell my mom and my dad. But like in general conversation, I always feel funny like, hey yo, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, because I used to be that way.
Really?
Yeah, but so many really cool things. I have to say like there's an abundance of like, I will say this, it's like a broad spectrum, like a plethora actually,
'Cause I haven't-
of like cool shit coming.
And I can't
but
really
like
say
I hate to like
Yeah.
give it away. I'm sorry to talk over you.
No, it's great. No, listen, we're here for you, so no worries at all. I have a theory on when all of that changed. How much did your kids impact you changing where you're like, okay, I have a new perspective that changed for you?
My family has a huge impression on me.
Yeah.
I used to think that I was, so mannish, but it actually does. You know, my wife has a huge impression on me. My children have a huge impression on me because there's an energy you get from them,
Right.
and that energy helps to shape your life.
Yeah.
And what is helping to shape your life essentially shapes your spirit too. And therefore, anything you make is a byproduct of that, of that collision of all those colors and all that joy and all of that energy and all of that like solar power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That it's informed my life. It's given so much color to aspects of my life that I didn't even realize were gray or black and white.
You have an outstanding way of describing things, man.
I'm grateful.
Listen, I'm grateful for you being here, my man. Pharrell Williams in the building.
Thank you.
My man.
My brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.